Sir, visible and virtual video on చేస్తా
అక్కడ ఆన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
Could you please on your video, sir?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Madam, shall we start with the location?
So first innovations on
Sir,
locations.
let us start the
Program within
program with an invocation song, sir.
of university.
Please.
Yeah.
Video ఇదంతా ఏదో మనం
Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Surya Kalavati Garu, Yogi Memorial University, and Professor P. Chandramati Shankar Garu, Principal, Yogi Memorial University, Dr. S. Govardhan Naidu, sir, Associate Professor, Yogi Memorial University, Dr. G. Parvati Garu, Associate Professor, Yogi Memorial University, and myself, P.R. Satish Babu. And the today's invited keynote addressee, Professor Lazarus Samraj Garu, Pondicherry University. A warm welcome to you all, sir.
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
before starting this program, let me have some few lines during this webinar. Quickly, due to apologies for late delay, and let me start a quick lines on this topic, Constitutional Day. The Constitution is one of the noble literature in the world today, and ours is the biggest, most wanted constitution for the new world order. And ours is such an marvelous constitution, which was the world was looking to our constitution for many issues and solutions. And now our constitution has a major challenges, few challenges before our country, like ending poverty in all its forms, ending hunger in pandemic politics, in pandemic world, the hungry and food security became a major, and nutrition became a major issues for the entire world as well as India. Ensure health and promoting well-being, and it also challenges for equality of education, promoting lifelong learning opportunities, and gender equality, and the inclusive culture of the nations, and strengthening the global partnerships of peace, etc. With these few lines, I will conclude my introductory words. And as per protocol, I invite Professor P. Chandramati Shankar Garu, Principal, to have a welcome address on this occasion.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Surya Kalavati Madam, Registrar, Professor D. Vijay Raghav Prasad Garu, keynote speakers, Professor Lazarus Samraj, Professor Mrudul Nail from Pondicherry University and University of Mumbai respectively, all the delegates, participants, students, scholars, a very good morning to you all. For over 7 decades now, the Indian Constitution has been the instrument that ensures the government systems functioning in the world's largest democracy. Though it came into the effect in 1950, it was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. With unrelenting efforts, our founding fathers gave us our Constitution on this day in 1949. So I congratulate the organizers and Department of Political Science and Political Administration for conducting this very meaningful webinar with very eminent speakers from different universities on this Constitution Day today. I very heartily welcome all and everyone to this webinar today. I thank the convener for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam, for giving a valuable message on this occasion. And now I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor M. Surya Kalavati Garu to deliver the presidential address on this eve.
So, good morning. So first I want to congratulate Political Science and Public Administration Department for conducting this webinar, which is on Constitution Day. So it's a very happy. And so respected Chandramati Shankar Garu, Principal YVU College, and Vijay Raghav Prasad, Registrar of YVU, and staff of Political Science and Public Administration, and today's convener Satish Babu, Govardhan Naidu Garu, Parvati, Pramila, as well as Suresh, Vinay Kumar, and Anil, and our photographer, Bhuvnesh. So, and today's speakers, so that is Sam Raz Garu from Pondicherry University, and Mridula Nile, University of Mumbai. So, good morning once again. So it is widely known that Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution in the world. So the document contains powers and duties of the Indian state, political principles and fundamental rights and duties of citizens, among other things required for a healthy and vibrant democracy. So as we celebrate Constitution Day, have a look at some fascinating facts about our Republic's founding documents. So the Constituent Assembly took almost 3 years to frame the Indian Constitution. So the Indian Constitution was originally written in English and Hindi. So the Indian Constitution was signed by the members of the Constitution Assembly. So on January 24th, 1950, original copies of Indian Constitutions are kept in helium-filled cases in Parliament's Central Library. More than 2,000 amendments were made to the first draft of the Indian Constitution. So noted Santiniketan's artists, including Ram Manohar Sinha and Nandalal Bose, decorated each page of the Indian Constitution. The world's socialist and secular were incorporated in the preamble to the Indian Constitution during the emergency in 1976. So the chairman and of the drafting committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, presented it is before the President Rajendra Prasad on November 25th, 1949. However, it was adopted on November 26th, 1949. So, though the Constitution took effect on January 26th, 1950, that is on Republic Day, Constitution Day is celebrated on November 26th to commemorate its adoption. So every year on November 26th, India celebrates Constitution Day. It marks the Constituent Assembly's adoption of India's Constitution, so after post-independence. So the Indian Constitution is the country's most important governmental document. Constitution Day reconnects us to our basic origins and makes us appreciate the importance of the country's constitution. So it should be honored with unprecedented passion and excitement by all segments of society, not just government departments. So here, the preamble of the Constitution declares India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic, and aims secure justice, liberty, equality to all citizens, and promote fraternity to maintain unity and integrity of the nation. So our Constitution enshrines the idea of building the inclusive society, and also contain provisions for realizing it. Today is a great opportunity to convey our gratitude to the makers of our constitution, who gave us a system to bring out revolutionary changes peacefully by way of constitutional amendments. So let us resolve that we, the people of India, will continuously strive to achieve the ideas and of our constitution and help the development of our nation. So Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Madam, for noting various important values and guidelines given narrated in the Constitution, and for the purpose of the Constitution, and how the country should be, how the intellectual struggles have worked on this, and how the lakhs of people, crores of people were seeing towards the Constitution at the time for their solutions. And thank you for remembering all the struggles and the purposes of the Constitution. Thank you so much, Madam, for delivering the beautiful message. And now I request Dr. S. Govardhan Naidu, Sir, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science and Public Administration, to introduce the keynote speaker, Professor Lazarus Samraj. I request, please, sir.
Professor M. Suryakalawati Madam Garu, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Yogi Vemana University. Professor Chandramati Shankar, Principal of Yogi Vemana University, PG College. Professor D. Vijayaraghav Prasad Garu, Registrar, Yogi Vemana University. Professor Lazarus Samraj, Keynote Speaker of first session of webinar. Professor Midul Naik, University of Mumbai, and Dr. B.R. Satish Babu, convener of today's webinar, and our faculty members, Dr. Parvati, Dr. Pramila Margaret, and Vinay Kumar, participants, and good morning to all of you. Today, the Constitutional Day has more importance. In May 2015, the Union Cabinet led by Dr. P.M. Narendra Modi announced that November 26th will be observed as Constitutional Day to promote constitutional values amongst citizens. On November 26, 1949, the Constituent Assembly took the Constitution of India, and it was then commemorated on 26th of January 1950. While the 26th of January is celebrated as Republic Day, beginning in 2015, November 26th has been seen as the Constitutional Day of India, or Samvidhan Divas. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel were the founding fathers of the Constitution of India. In May 2015, the Union Cabinet led by PM Narendra Modi announced that November 26th will be observed as Constitutional Day to promote constitutional values among citizens. Notably, 2015 was the year marked 125th birth anniversary of B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of drafting Committee of Constitution. Other members included in that committee Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, among others. The main intention of the Modi government is to honor the legacy of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and to promote the constitutional values that were introduced by him and others. At the time, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment decided to undertake several activities to promote Ambedkar ideas and philosophy, which included the setting up of Dr. Ambedkar International Center at 15 Janpath at a cost of over rupees 197 crores. On November 19, 2015, the government formally notified November 26th as Constitutional Day. Before this, the day was observed as National Law Day. Ambedkar was also the first Law Minister of India. So today I feel very happy to introduce Professor Lazarus Samraj as the keynote speaker of first session. He was a professor in Pondicherry University. So he was one of the leading political scientists and political analysis from South India. He is having more than 25 years of teaching and research experience at the university level. He is known for his dedicated teaching, problem-solving research, analytical ability, and astute leadership skill. He has published 8 books and more than 20 articles in national and international journals. He is credited with more than 50 popular current affairs writings in prominent national dailies. He has successfully completed 3 UGC major research projects. He was instrumental in establishing the prestigious UMISARC and Center for South Asian Studies at Pondicherry University, and by being the head of the Department of Politics and International Studies. He started 2 years regular MA Political Science course at Pondicherry University. He has organized numerous national and international conferences and workshops at the university level. The latest one was a 2-week-long ICSSR sponsored capacity building program for young faculty members in social sciences. He is a member of the Board of Studies of many universities, including Madras University, Annamalai University, Bharatiyar University, Madurai Kamaraj University, and Kerala University. He is also a lifetime member of number of academic associations like Indian Association for Political Science, Indian Association for American Studies, and South Indian American Network, and he has also served as the General Secretary for the IAS 3 times. He was awarded a Fulbright Fellowship and was selected as one of the peers to visit the American defense installations in 1997. Professor Lazarus has visited the United States twice on invitations for academic purposes and has also attended a 4-week international leadership workshop in Hawaii. He is a regular faculty in the UGC Academic Staff College of Pondicherry University, Madras University, Annamalai University, Madurai Kamaraj University, and Kerala University. He has successfully supervised 19 MPhil and 11 PhD fellows, including 2 from Kashmir. He is blessed with extraordinary communication skill in both Tamil and English. He is regularly involved in motivational and leadership programs at colleges and university levels. As a resource person, he had been invited by a number of universities to deliver keynote addresses and special lectures throughout India. His lectures are specialized in globalization, pluralism, national integration, addressing the menace of terrorism, India's national building experience, democracy in India, research design, leadership skill, women empowerment, etc., which have attracted the admiration of many audiences. Professor Lazarus is a positive humanist working for world peace and inter-religious harmony. Sir, I feel very happy, sir, to introduce your biodata. So now,
Thank you so much, Dr. S. Govardhan Naidu, sir, for giving a brief short note on Professor Lazarus Samraj. Thank you so much. And now, Vanakkam, sir.
வணக்கம் வணக்கம்.
Satish.
Sir, now I request Professor Lazarus Samraj, sir, to have a keynote lecture on national building and Indian Constitution. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Surya Kalavidi, Madam, and Honorable Registrar, Professor Chandramati Shankar, and the Principal, Chandramati Shankar, and Honorable Registrar, Vijaya Raghava Prasad, and Professor Naidu just introduced me, and also the convener of the program, my friend Satish Kumar, and fellow panelists, Professor Mudul Naik, fellow faculty members, students, friends,
And
ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I greet you all. Wish you all the best. I really appreciate and congratulate the department for organizing a very, very important webinar, the right time. It's a great day of remembrance. Yes, it's a great day. It was highlighted by our Vice Chancellor Madam, Registrar Madam, and also the Professor Naidu. They made my work very easy. The purpose of remembering and celebrating Constitutional Day, I already Professor Naidu underlines, to promote the values of Constitution among the youth of the country. That's the purpose. Almost all the revolutions started in education institutions. Education institutions are expected to lead the society. We already know that our great Constituent Assembly drafted the innovative Constitution. It's a time-tested Constitution with 389 articles, 395 articles with 22 parts and 8 schedules originally. Now it's a growing Constitution. Our Constitution is a growing Constitution. Now we have 448 articles and 12 schedules and with 105 amendments. But I would like to bring to your kind notice that the Constituent Assembly was not represented by not even a single political scientist. No political scientist was attended the drafting procedure or debating procedure. That's a sorry state of affairs. However, we have to appreciate the Constituent Assembly, the great founding fathers, the chairman Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the chairman of the drafting committee, B.R. Ambedkar, and others. I would like to highlight some of the important points which are not mentioned by my previous speakers. Satish Babu already underlined the importance, some of the challenges we are facing. You should know that 195 countries are having constitution. The average age of the constitution is 19 years. The average age of the world constitution is 19 years. We have successfully crossed 71 years. We are celebrating the 72nd year of our constitution. Yes, we have to salute the founding fathers for giving us the time-tested constitution. Then I want to make some corrections about the facts of the constitution. The learned audience, the students should know that our constitution is not the lengthiest constitution. Our constitution is the second lengthiest constitution. The first lengthiest constitution is Alabama Constitution. Americans are having the lengthiest constitution. You should know that. Unknowingly or unknowingly, ignorantly, people or scientists are calling that American Constitution is the smallest constitution. That is wrong. America is having 51 constitutions. Out of 51 constitutions, Alabama, one state, is having a constitution of 3,45,000 words. 3,45,000 words is the lengthiest constitution. It's the most amended constitution. 950 times Alabama amended its constitution. California, the state has amended 514 times. Indian constitution is having 1,46,000 words with 104 amendments. The smallest constitution is the Constitution of Monaco, 3,815. Second smallest is United States Constitution, 4,400 words. Our constitution is a growing constitution, is a time-tested constitution, and also most challenged constitution and successfully surviving constitution. There are so many countries which are changing their constitutions often. I already told you the average age of the constitution is 19 years. The Dominican Republic, they had 32 constitutions from 1844 onwards. Venezuela, they had 28 constitutions. Haiti, 24 constitutions. Ecuador, 20 constitutions. Pakistan, our neighbor, 4 constitutions. Soviet Union, within 70 years, 4 constitutions. China, 4 constitutions. This is the way. See, we have a time-tested constitution. We should be proud of that. We are trying to practice democracy. What is democracy? Democracy is the most matured form of governance which can be successfully practiced among the politically matured of the people. Among the politically matured people, democracy can be practiced. See, practicing constitutional democracy is a difficult task among the politically immature people. It needs a lot of political maturity among the people as well as leaders. There are so many nations formed based on religious identity. For example, our neighbor Pakistan. There are nations formed based on ideology, Yugoslavia, by one individual, again Yugoslavia, with majoritarian ideology, Sri Lanka, Burma, and Yugoslavia. These countries failed to last long. But we formed a country on the constitutional foundation. Constitutional foundation. In spite of so many diversities, the youth of India should know the status of India, the position of India when we gain independence. I already told you, democracy is the most matured form of governance. It should be practiced among the politically mature people. It is impossible to practice democracy successfully among the politically immature people by politically immature leaders. But what's the status of India? When we gain independence, we have 565 princely states. Just imagine, thousands of jamindaris, Jagir system was there. 17 British provinces. The literacy rate of India at the time of independence was 12%. Only 12% were literate. Then life expectancy was 32 years. During the time of India, only 1,500 villages got electrification. Out of 6,64,369 villages, only 1,500 villages got electrified. More than 80% people lived in below poverty line. We have fragmented society. We have more than 25,000 subcastes. Even now, we have more than 2,885 political parties. It's unprecedented. 2,885 registered parties, 8 national parties, 54 states parties, so 2,796 unrecognized parties. See the diversity of India. We have 22 languages, 19,500 mother tongues, 22 states, 8 union territories. So in spite of that, we are successfully drafting a constitution. We are successfully implementing a constitution. The Western countries laughed at us, mocked us. They said that India cannot be a good experiment. We have disproved all the theories. Is it possible to conduct election with the illiterates? But the greatest event in human history is Indian election, not Olympic Games or football match. Greatest number of people participating in one event is Indian election. We should be proud of that. In the first election, 17.32 crores people participated in the election, voters. Just imagine, in 2019, how many crores? 912 million voters. That means more than 91 crores voters participate in the election. We have successfully conducted 17 Lok Sabha elections with the illiterate people, with the ignorance people, with the in spite of so many diversities. Elections are strengthening India more than any other country. You know that so many countries conduct a popular election. That was the end of the country. For example, our neighboring brothers, Pakistanis, they conducted the first election in 1970. That was the last election of Pakistan. Pakistan was disintegrated into Pakistan and Bangladesh. Yugoslavia conducted the first election in 1990. That was the end of United Yugoslavia. It was balkanized into so many countries, fragmented. There are so many elections we have conducted, 17 elections. There are so many flaws. No doubt about that. But elections are strengthening Indian democracy, strengthening India's integration, and weakening the negative forces. Weakening the negative forces. Our ignorant people are known for taking right decision at the right time. They have successfully voted out autocratic-minded Indira Gandhi in 1977. When political leaders, opposition failed to put a stable government, they voted out Janata Party. A charismatic, young, dynamic Rajiv Gandhi became prime minister, and he was voted out because of corruption issue. See, we are known for changing the governments, changing the leaders silently. In Indian democracy, no person is above India. No person is above law. No family, no ideology, no religion, no race, no caste is greater than our constitution. Our constitution is supreme. My friend Satish Kumar already underlines the challenges of Indian democracy. There are so many challenges we have undergone. We are undergoing also. Challenges are part of history. part of personal life, family life, state life, nation life. But our constitution, our state is a self-adjusting, successfully surviving democracy, thanks to the Indian constitution. See, there are so many challenges, intra-national and extra-national challenges. We have undergone, we are undergoing. As highlighted by my friend Satish Kumar, the poverty, malnutrition, illiteracy, insurgency, gender equality, terrorism, subnationalism, instability, autocratic mentality, corruption, dynasty democracy, sectarianism, manipulative media. That's a great threat of Indian democracy. Greedy corporates pursue the agenda of privatizing profit, nationalizing the losses. Then EVM misuse, false trading, misuse of Article 356, encouraging defections, initiating wrong laws, corrupt judiciary, political apathy, then religious industry. These are the intra-national challenges, some of the great intra-national challenges. Above all, the greatest intra-national challenge we are facing is leadership crisis. Leadership crisis is the greatest crisis. Leaders with role models, leaders with farsightedness, leaders who are ready to take people together. Apart from that, we have faced extraterritorial challenges in the form of Chinese invasion, Pakistan war, Soviet design, American design. See, what is the best state? The best state is one which is having lesser number of laws and more number of law-abiding people. The best state is one which is blessed with matured political leaders at top level who think ahead of times. The best state is one which is decentralizing the powers and distributing the resources. The best state is one which is protecting the people with multiple identities. So the need of the hour is leadership with democratic mindset and far-sighted mindset. So we should know how to respect multiple identities. Now, the great threat of India now we are facing is the slogan of majoritarian attitude. One nation, one law, one language, one race and God, one religion, one political party, one food, one culture, then one leader. This oneness based on the spirit of humanism is good. The oneness based on the spirit of nationalism is good. But we should not try to impose one's view on others. We should know how to respect the sentiment, culture, identity of the people. One person thinking will not be a national thinking. So the need of the hour is the quality of farsighted leadership. Even the gods drafted constitution given from heaven will not work if the leaders are politically immature, morally corrupt, and power greedy. See, the quality of center-state relations depends upon the maturity of central leadership. For example, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister. He showed the statesmanship maturity, irrespecting the sentiment of states, though he had a rainbow coalition with multiple parties. See, when Jyoti Basu, the former chief minister of West Bengal, made an important observation. after the end of Vajpayee government. He said that the center never discriminated West Bengal on any area, though we are having different ideology. That's a witnessing statement. That's the need of the hour. See, demagogues, majoritarian mindset, election winning strategies, greed for power, corporate centric politics, agenda to weaken the opposition and eliminate the opposition. Then, if this is the agenda, even the well-drafted constitution will not work. We should be proud of so many things. Within 72 years of constitutional experiment, we have successfully conducted 17 elections. That's a great thing, I already told you. Our democracy is a maturing democracy. See, when compared to the Western countries, we are ahead. We guaranteed universal adult franchise to everybody in the first election. One person, one vote. That is unprecedented in history. See, take the case of the greatest, strongest democracy, America. The blacks got their voting rights only in 1965. Just imagine how many years after. Women got their voting rights only in 1920 through 19th Amendment. England, equal voting rights was given to men only in 1928. From 1215 Magna Carta, they had to wait more than 500 years for getting voting rights. Americans are known for electing the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. The only first Catholic, non-Protestant president was elected was John F. Kennedy in 1960. Then second Catholic president was this Joseph Biden, Joe Biden or Joseph Biden. He was the second Catholic. The first black elected was Barack Obama in 2009. The first woman president is Kamala Harris. No woman was elected in America for more than 200 years of America's independence. But we have Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. We had a women prime minister. We had an honest Shastri, humble man Shastri. We had a Gandhi and Morai Desai. We had a modern, educated Rajiv Gandhi, young prime minister. We have a Rajasthan politician, VP Singh. We have scholarly prime minister, Narasimha Rao. We have diplomatic prime minister, I.K. Gujaral. We have humble farmer, Sarun Singh and Devakauda. And we have the statesman, Vajpayee, an intellectual, Manmohan Singh. And now we are a person from conflict background. He called himself a Chayawala, a prime minister. That's the greatness of India's democracy. That's the greatness of India's democracy. See, I want to have some discussion with my young friends about so many questions. We are not able to address so many challenges. You should know that nation building is not a one-day process or 1 week process or 1 year process or 10-year process. Nation building is a process of so many decades. Americans took more than 90 years to keep the nation together after the Civil War. So nation building is not a one-day process. We are having so many challenges. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every opportunity is a challenge. So the need of the hour is the young people should ready to come forward to take the lead as a role model. As a role model, then only they can promote the democratic culture, the culture of oneness, culture of brotherhood, culture of Indianness is the need of the hour. Above all, culture of moral values. We have to say that ill-gotten wealth brings domestic disaster. We should not try to win by sinning. Winning by sinning will not last long. Now, there are so many wrong actions by so many politicians in order to greed for power. But in democracy, democratic decisions should be taken with a lot of consultation, with a lot of deliberations. Democratic decisions should not be taken in a dictatorial manner. In democracy, people's power will eliminate dictatorial minded people. People are supreme. Indian Constitution guarantees the people the right to protest peacefully. Yes, it has been proved. Constitutional is supreme, but government is not supreme. Constitution is supreme, no leader is supreme. Constitution is supreme, no parliament law is supreme. People are supreme. People are supreme. See, Indian democracy, there are so many instances. People united together to compel the leaders to bow down. For example, in 1956, the great anti-Hindi agitation in Tamil Nadu, which compelled Jawaharlal Nehru to give a promise not to impose Hindi among the non-Hindi people. In 2017, the Jallikattu protest, you know that, the Jallikattu protest, the apolitical youth in Marina, it compelled the central government to allow Jallikattu, the traditional festival, to happen. You know that famous Guinness breaking record event in human history, the Gandhi's land of Satyagraha, the farmers of North India, they had a Satyagraha for more than 1 year to revoke the 3 farm laws. In 1975, JP moment, again Indira Gandhi. So people are the supreme. We should know how to be effective and bring innovative change by promoting democratic culture. Our constitution underlines the importance of brotherhood. We all are Indian. We should unite people with the thread of love, compassion, brotherhood, tolerance, patience. We should try to unite the people of India with the constitutional thread of brotherhood. We should not allow people, leaders, to divide India based on any identity. Any identity. We should be together as Indians, as positive humanism. That's what I tell you. There are so many setbacks. There are people who are frustrated with delayed justice. There is a saying that delayed justice is denied justice. Arnold Toynbee, the great historian, once said that corruption at the level of judiciary, corruption at the level of education are the 2 causes for the downfall of civilization. We got more than 4.5 crores cases are pending with the Supreme Court. That's a sorry state of affairs. But history says that there are so many straightforward judges also. See, recently I have gone through the biography of one judge from Supreme Court, Justice K. Chandru. Within his 4 years of tenure, he has cleared 96,000 cases. 96,000 cases he has cleared. He didn't accept the farewell. He didn't accept any security cover throughout his service. After his retirement, he got the local train ticket and went home. Such a humble person. We need leaders like Abdul Kalam. We need leaders like straightforwardly like Lal Bahadur Shastri. See, history is nothing but history, and their story. History is created within the 4 walls of classroom. The historians are created within the 4 walls of classroom. The leaders, one person can change the destiny of any country. One person. The great Mahatma Gandhi attracted the people of multiple identity like magnet and united India as under one umbrella as one nation because of his moral strength. He was a great patriot. He was a great Hindu, great nationalist, great humanist. So we need leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. We need leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru. We need leaders like Narasimha Rao, a scholarly prime minister. Yes, we can change the destiny of history. We should not allow the negative forces, the partisan forces who are spreading hatred and dividing people on some identity line. We can't expect anything other than love and universal brotherhood to unite people of India. Pakistan was created based on the slogan of Islam. Islam failed to unite the people of Pakistan. Pakistan was divided on language line. Bengali speaking Muslim and Urdu speaking Muslim. So it is impossible to unite people based on religious identity. Impossible to unite people based on caste identity. Impossible to unite people based on religious identity, language identity. So the only way to unite people is through the thread of love and positive humanism. We are Indians. We should be proud of India because we have a time-tested constitution of 72 years. We have successfully overcome the challenges, so many challenges. But we have so many challenges before us. All the challenges can be achieved, addressed in due course, if we are blessed with dedicated leaders. See, I want to highlight one important thing about religious identity. All religions talk about love and humility. But the religious industry, the religious people are spreading hatred and differences. All religions talk about humility, but these religions are spreading proud and insecurity. This is dangerous. Any religion which is spreading hatred is the number one enemy of God and religion. The need of the hour is positive humanism. So India has undergone so many challenges. The challenges should be addressed in due course, because I don't want to talk more. I want to give time for the participant to have discussion. So we will have more discussion. So let us unite. Let us decide to respect our great constitution, accept our great constitution, follow the great values promulgated by the constitution, so that India will be a great India, peaceful India, developed India, united India. May God bless you and me. Thank you very much. Now open for discussion. Yes, I underlined some of the things for discussion.
And really, we have enjoyed your lecture, and it gives an immense pleasure to have a lecture with and you have touched upon many issues, challenges, and many facts, and many underlined, noted concepts, and where the Indian constitution should be. You have used the word the mature at each and every level, because the maturity gives the mature meaning in all concepts and all values which we have to understand in the constitution. And really, it is an loaded speech what you have given, and we have to experience and practice the Constitution is a major challenge. And we are practicing the Constitution, but still there is a lots of challenges which we have to make lots of corrections in our way of life. And since the Constitution has generated the new way of life by structuring our lives with equality, liberty, and fraternity, you have touched upon all the issues, concepts, and theories, and at a practical, both in theory and practical issues and facts. And we really enjoyed a lot on the eve of the Constitutional Day, the importance and the significance and how the comparisons with the other countries, like Western countries and many other countries, and where it is our constitution drafting itself is a major challenge, because we have the varieties of what we call the fragmentations and differences, where the constitution is the only mechanism to make a Indian a strong unifications. And we really enjoyed, sir, with your marvelous speech and wonderful examples. And it gives it's a landmark for our events, because your lecture is such an exemplary to the youth as well as to the faculty members, where these kind of discussions and should be encouraged and promote for strengthening the understandings of human behaviors and constitutions. And personally, I am very happy to hear your such an wonderful lecture. And I thank you once again, sir, for sharing a valuable speech in this occasion.
I really appreciate I really appreciate if the audience are raising questions, because the strength of social science relies on its ability to discuss and debate. There should be a discussion and debate. Debates and discussion are the laboratory for the social scientists. We should have more discussion and debate, more questions and answer. Then only the winner will be a successful baby.
Sir. And,
Yeah.
and in this cyclone, this region is affected too much, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Our students are in that mode, and some majority are in examination mode. But still, our intention is to make this speech into a literature and have a publication, so that it can reach to the people and libraries to read. And we no doubt we will convert this into a publication, and we will start distributing to the youth.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
waste this time and energies and speeches.
Okay. Okay. I thought that there'll be more discussion. That's what I cut short my speech. I didn't explain some of the concepts, expecting the participant to raise some questions so that I'll answer. That's why. Okay.
And I request all the participants to have your own clarifications and questions to Professor Lazarus, sir. Please.
In the form of questions or observations or comments or compliments, what are the forms?
Does anybody want to have a questions? Please. Nagaratnam?
People can raise their hands and raise the question, because I encourage my students also raise many questions in the classroom. I never give 1 hour lecture. I give 45 minutes lecture and followed by minimum 15 to half an hour discussion.
Anybody want to raise your hand?
Okay, nobody is interested in questions. Okay, yeah, yeah. Professor, anybody?
Sir, a small question and a doubt.
Please, please. I can't clear all your doubts. I'll try my best.
Actually, our Indian constitution is very strengthened constitution, there is no doubt.
Mm.
But it provide many provisions to protect the rights of the people.
Mm,
But in the implementation level,
mm,
the authorities are not follow such type of provisions which are provided by the constitution to the people for the protection of rights.
mm. Yeah,
Where at the implementation level it is wrong, or at the administrative category either it is wrong or not. At what level they are not follow such type of rules and regulations? At which level?
yeah. The thing is, see, I already told you, India is in the process of maturity. The quality of maturity depends upon the quality of people. So here, our people are, most of the people are not aware of so many rights and privileges. The ignorance is the excuse, but its ignorance is not an excuse also. See, now that's the purpose of education institution. The Right to Information Act was considered as one of the innovative constitutional amendment given by UPA government to get the information from the administration. That's the greatest thing. So we should educate the people about their rights, and we should inform the officials who are implementing the program about their duties. And also we should caution them the consequences of not implementing the set rules and regulations. So the thing is, the need of the hour is political education, political awareness. See, I'm sorry, we have to, most of the science faculty people, they are in the administration, they never encourage and accept the social science disciplines on par with social science, other sciences. So we have to strengthen the social sciences. We create awareness, especially the human rights program, right to information. These should be strengthened so that people will aware. See, most of the women, they do not know the rights of property, equal property rights at home. Similarly, the official are not implementing. You should know the ways and means to get things done. It will take time. That's why I'm telling political maturity. The need of the hour is more and more politically matured, alert youth for India. We should fight. See the now what the farmers are doing now. They did a Guardian way of Satyagraha. It's a Guinness making Satyagraha, unprecedented Satyagraha, non-violent Satyagraha. They have proved that people power are supreme than any person, any party, any movement. Similarly, at all levels, wherever the institution is located, you have to create awareness about the rights and privileges of the local people where the institution is placed, so that people will ask for their rights. Yeah, we have to fight. The challenge cannot be overcome by one day. It will take a long time, where the role of you and me is very important. I hope you got you are convinced with my answer.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
Sir, recently we have a movie called Jai Bhim.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Chandru judgment was, I mentioned about what Justice
it is not a
Chandru.
question. It is not a question, but it is a feeling to share with you. But according to the calculations of the IT people, it stands the world toppest movie in the world. And what is then I thought that, see, the value the value has such a demand in the world. See, the people are watching the values rather than music or dance or athletics, some kind of acting. Marvelous actors are there, but this movie, there is no any dance, there is no any songs, or there is no any type of attractions, but it is merely a story had made people to see for 2 hours. It is just an amazing what I have observed in recent times. Just I want to share the feeling.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm telling. A movie can change the attitude of the people, positively, negatively. There are so many negative movies spoiling the youth. There's a call internet. They are addicting the people, binding the people. Now, see, that's what I'm telling. We have to carry the light in the era of darkness, era of directionless. So many youth are directionless now. People are not aware. So, like JB is creating awareness. The
Yeah.
JB movie is based on, I told you about Justice Chandru's verdict, who gave judgment that 96 cases. So likewise, we have to create people like Chandrus in the classroom. We have to create so many innovative people with farsightedness. That's the need of the hour. Now people are addicted to so many wrongs after cine actors. They are apolitical. I should say that apolitical. They are not interested in anything. They are interested in only in happiness, pleasure centric, money centric. We should educate. That's why only hope for India is higher education institutions. We are expected to create, promote, build, shape, problem solving, farsightedness, sincere, straightforward, ethical, young leaders. That's the need of it. Then only India will be saved. Winning by sinning will not last long. Winning by negative means will not last long. If you are playing with democracy, I'm telling positive thing, political thing. If you are playing with democracy, democracy will destroy you. No, democracy will not tolerate you for a long run. There are observations about so many things. The people are buying MLAs, MPs, and toppling MLAs, encouraging defection to form government. How long it will last long? No. Similarly, the casteism. Casteism is the curse of India. We had to fight. Like JB movie created ripples through the world. Casteism. It's a 5,000 years old sin. 5,000 year old disease. But it cannot be removed within 50 years, 70 years. We have to fight against the casteism for another 100 years. That's why Ambedkar and Constituent Assembly guarantees reservation. We have to go a long way. Yeah. Sadish, tell me.
Yeah. What a wonderful analysis, sir. It's really enjoyed a lot. And I request Dr. Pramila Madam to have some questions or some
Yeah, we are
you
fighting
can share
for
some feelings with.
33% reservation for women. Madam, you should participate. I'm very happy to.
Good afternoon, sir.
Huh?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please.
So I'm very happy, sir, after listening your information, good information, sir. According to your opinion, Constitution is the supreme, sir.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, sir, after your valuable words. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. What's your observation or question?
I don't know, my opinion is constitution is supreme, not power of the people, not power of the parliament.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
that's all, sir. Thank you, sir.
People are supreme than the parliament.
Yes,
People
sir.
are
Yes,
supreme
yes.
than any
The
leader.
constitution is supreme.
Constitution is supreme about everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes.
and Nagarat,
Constitution is a socialist, secular, democratic republic of India.
Yeah, they have to promote the
Yes, sir.
secularism. See, people are having multiple identity, madam. So
Yes, yes.
vegetarian, non-vegetarian, I do not know. Everybody is having multiple identities. We should know how to respect people with multiple identity. See, I should not say that you should eat mutton. No, I have no right to say.
Yes,
So people culturally different.
yes.
Even Hindu religion is having multiple identities. There are people who are sacrificing goat for their gods, cock for their gods. They are
Yes.
sacrificing, in the Adivasis are sacrificing araks for their god. The arak means the drink. Arak.
Yes, definitely.
See, their sacrifice differs from people to people, culture to culture, place to place. The
Yes,
Nagaras,
sir.
the most precious diet is dog meat. How can I say that you should not eat dog?
Okay.
See, we should not try to impose my will on others.
Yes, sir.
India should celebrate secularism, pluralism.
Yes.
Then only India will last now. One religion, one culture, one ration card, one language, one food. That is self-defeating exercise. The constitution and the people will defeat the evil agenda of the autocratic mentality people. You take it from me from the next election. The charismatic Rajiv Gandhi had 413 seats. Young Prime Minister. He was defeated by Indian democracy. The autocratic Indira Gandhi. Indira was Indira. She was defeated in 1977. So Indian people are supreme, Indian democracy is supreme. We should not allow anybody to destroy Indian constitution.
Definitely, I will agree with you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
and Nagaratnam,
Yes.
do you,
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please, madam.
Namaste, sir. Myself, Nagaratna, research scholar and also assistant professor.
Hmm.
I'm working under guidance of Dr. Satish Babu, sir.
Hmm.
Thank you very much for giving elaborate insights into the constitution and also practical things happening in the society, especially quoted Jaibu movie. I also watched that movie. It has a very good real picturization. It has very good impact on the people. So many people are discussing about the movie. JB movie, especially we want to screen that for the students also, because media is the easiest method to reach to the students.
Yeah.
Sorry if there's some disturbance is there, voice disturbance. So I thank you, sir. Sir, please give some insights. Is there necessity to change any part of the constitution? Any part of the constitution, any provisions?
Provision?
Any provision of the constitution needs to be changed, or is it fine in its form now?
No. See, change is inevitable. Change is continuous. Change is permanent. See, our constitution is a growing constitution.
Yes.
There's a lot of the changes we should introduce according to changing time scenario. That's why our constitution is neither a rigid constitution or a flexible constitution. I already told you about there are so many political pundits, scholars wrongly tell the students that Indian constitution is the lengthiest. No, I already told you. American constitution is the biggest constitution. American constitution is not the smallest constitution. That is wrong. People are teaching wrong things. American constitution is the constitution of constitutions. America is having 51 constitution. See, they are changing so many times. American constitution is changing only 29 times. But the one constitution I already told you, which was changed more than 900 times. See, likewise, we should change our constitution according to the changing scenario. See, the Alabama constitution was changed 950 times. California constitution was changed in 514 times. Our constitution is changed only for 144 times. There should be a change. Change is a permanent thing. Change is a continuous thing. Change is inevitable. So we should change according to changing scenario. Changing scenario. Our constitution
Indians
is
biggest films. Why Indians biggest
adaptable, innovative constitution. I hope you understand my point. I have a lot of respect for the great constituent assembly stalwarts. Rajendra Prasad, H.U. Kamath. So many stalwarts, not ordinary people. Only my worry is no political science was not in, the scientist was not involved. All are legal luminaries and public experts. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We should change, ma. We should change. Do you want to change in your salary structure?
Yes, sir.
You want a promotion as associate professor?
Yes, sir.
Likewise, our constitution should be changed according to changing scenario.
Yes, sir. Then only it is lively constitution.
Yeah, lively constitution, but the basic foundation should not be changed.
Yes, basic structure should not be disturbed.
Basic structure should not be changed. You are inviting
Yes.
me from Pondicherry because of the constitutional guarantee. Constitution is uniting people from Andhra Pradesh with me.
Yes, sir.
Our country is a discussing country, debating country, interacting country. And we are exchanging our love, humanism, brotherhood, and so on and so forth, and ideas also. We should not
Yes, sir.
blindly accept any dictates of anybody who is having big, thinking that they are big. Nobody is big in democracy. Maybe Donald Trump or Benjamin Netanyahu. Where is Benjamin Netanyahu now? Where is Donald Trump now? No, nobody is supreme. Constitution is supreme. One is having 100-inch or 56-inch. He's not great, but Constitution is great. Our Constitution is great. The values of Constitution is great. We should not allow anybody to destroy the constitutional value. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
And anybody, any scholar want to ask questions?
We are question and discussion only help us to get new first thing. Through question and answer only we will get more things.
Anybody once again?
Even research scholars, young people,
Any scholars who want to have doubts on constitution or any challenges or
anything related to Indian politics.
guidelines or
Politics. You can ask in Telugu also. It can be translated.
yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah. Please tell your name.
Sir, myself Manoj Kumar from Pondicherry University, sir.
Oh, Manoj Kumar, Pondicherry University, my student. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, I see a clear decline of Parliament to ensure executive accountability. The same is happening in several states too, where the legislature, the role of legislature is in clear decline. What is your comment, sir?
Do you think the role of Parliament is declining?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, the declining the role of legislature and Parliament, because I already told you the immaturity and brutality mentality of the majoritarian attitude of the majoritarian leaders. See, Nehru was a great Democrat. There is a saying that the success and failures of Nehru both are in Himalayan in nature. His success was in Himalayan, failures are also Himalayan, but he was a great Democrat. He respected Parliament. But when a party gained absolute majority, brutal majority, they are ignoring the public opinion, ignoring the Parliament, and imposing and dictating policies is the mentality of the immature people. Immaturity. Immaturity can be tolerated for some time, but immaturity will not be allowed forever. Now the trend is BJP is having absolute majority. For example, previously I already quoted Vajpayee governance. He had a consultative, cooperative federative culture. Cooperative culture, cooperative federative culture. He consulted everybody. Of course, because of limited majority. But now the brutal majority, they are imposing everything. For example, the farm laws were not discussed with the states. See, agriculture is a concurrent list. There should be a discussion with the states. There should be a discussion with the farmers. See, the great two Gujaratis from Gujarat, two great Gujaratis help India to be together. Who are the two Gujaratis? One is Mahatma Gandhi. The second was Lal Bahadur Shastri. So these two great Gujaratis helped India to be together. Now, 2 plus 2 Gujaratis are in India, 2 political Gujaratis, 2 corporate Gujaratis. What role they are playing, history has to say. Whether the corporates are leading India, then 2 political leaders are leading India. There are so many critics. I don't want to make comment. I don't want to name also. But that's why the farmers' laws are imposed on farmers without consultation. Demonetization was announced without consultation. Unilateralism is the order of autocracy, undemocratic culture. But the trend will reverse. Indira Gandhi imposed emergency. When he apologized to the people of India, 1,000 years I will not impose emergency. 1,000 years. She openly acknowledged. Now the day will come, the people imposing laws will regret. I already told you, people are supreme. Constitution is supreme, not the corporate media, not the corporates. Corporates will run out of the country, but prime constitution will triumph. Democracy will triumph. I have a strong faith in Indian democracy. I told you, India is a self-adjusting, successfully surviving democracy. We voted out the charismatic Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi also. We voted out statesmen like Vajpayee, shining India person also. See, our voters are so valuable. People are supreme. We are known for our silent revolution, not brutal revolution, bloodshed revolution. We will do changes through ballot, not bullets. Indians are known for their patience, but right time, right decision will be taken. Don't worry about the degradation of parliament, because then another thing is setbacks are part of any experience. Setbacks are part of any human life, nation's life. Whenever there is a setback, don't step back. You come back. Our nation is interested in your comeback than setback. What to do? You have to organize yourself to promote democratic culture, constitutional culture, humanistic culture, nationalistic culture, culture of oneness, culture of brotherhood, culture of values, so that India will go ahead. Manoj, you got the answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sorry, my students also ask question.
We are enjoying, sir. Really, it is a question of everybody's question.
Yeah. Because questions only generate a lot of discussion and debate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Please,
Yeah, please. Now people are interested in asking questions. Okay.
Suresh Babu, please.
Yeah, yeah.
ఓకే మీరు ఎలాబరేట్ గా రాసుకొని నాకు ఇవ్వండి నేను మీకు
Pardon?
రాస్తాను కదా.
Excuse me, can you tell your name? Can you repeat, please?
Suresh Babu.
Huh?
Please repeat your question once again. Suresh Babu. Suresh Babu, please repeat your question once again.
There is a connectivity issue maybe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Connectivity problem is there.
Suresh Babu, are you with me?
Suresh Babu, any problem? Real problem maybe, sir.
Yeah, maybe connectivity issue. Okay. Anybody is having question?
Anybody who want to share your question?
Okay. Okay. No question.
Okay, sir. We have no questions from audience.
Hmm.
Anybody, once again, this is the last call for the questions. And we can conclude the first session. And later the second session starts from 2 o'clock sharply. And okay then, sir. And
Okay.
lastly, sir, nobody is there to ask a question. Now we can conclude this session. And
Okay.
now I thank Professor Lazarus Shamraj Garu. We enjoyed a lot. We learned a lot, and you have you gave such a awareness for the students as well as faculties and to the society. This webinar, we have discussed a lots of valuable questions and answers, and whereas the social sciences matters in the 21st century, and there is no end for social sciences as long as the question and answers will be in live. And thank you so much, sir, for having a wonderful lecture with you.
Thank you very much for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share my ideas with the young friends.
Thank you, sir. We must thank for accepting our invitation. And thank you so much, sir. And
Okay, wish you all the best. Huh? Okay.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We want to extend your cooperation.
From the department side, from the university side, and from the participant side, I wish you once again a big thanks for having a great timings with us. And really, we enjoyed a lot with your lecture, sir. We will meet in coming future conferences and webinars. And please try to extend our invitation for another webinars and conferences. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.